So everyone talks about the saying in the SEC, it just means more. It just means more. It's not a catchphrase. It is a lifestyle. There's more opportunities for you to live up to the hype, more opportunities for you to crumble under pressure, more opportunities for you to be on the center stage, and more opportunities for you to cash in. And Oklahoma's kind of getting ahead of the curve with that one by offering a brand new 6-year deal to Brent Venables, keeping him in Norman through 2029. And so many people are losing their minds on social media. But when you honestly break this down deal to the brass tacks, it's not that bad. Let's go ahead and discuss. But real quickly, if you're new to the channel, what's up? My name is Cole Thompson, and I talk college football daily. If this is the type of content you enjoy, smash that subscribe button, hit the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode of just saying it. And of course, tell your friends, family, mortal enemies, best of bros, college football fanatics, and Oklahoma fans everywhere, because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube community talking college football. Follow me on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mr. Cole Thompson. And if you want to be a part of the Monday Mailbag series or join me on any other one-off videos, email me, ColeThompsonWriting@gmail.com, or slide in the DMs on Twitter. So Brent Venables is getting a brand new deal, 6 years, worth $51.8 million. Roughly, that's what it's going to come out to be. It's $8.5 million per year. My apologies, it's 51.6. And so many people said overpay, overpay, overpay. But then you got to go back and remember that this is only building off of the current deal. So initially, when Brent Venables said goodbye to Clemson after years of being the coordinator under Nate Dabo, he signed a 6-year deal through 2027 worth $43.6 million. Roughly, that was the deal. So now you're basically saying it's a 2-year extension, roughly about an $800,000 pay raise. A little bit of a bump up for a little bit of a bump up in records. And in the SEC, that's nothing. To be completely transparent, in the SEC, that's not even in the top 5 of current contracts that are being offered. So it's not as if you can compare this deal when everyone says, well, what has Oklahoma done in the SEC? I could say the same thing for Texas, but Texas was more than happy to give Steve Sarkisian an egregious overpay. And yes, the situations are completely different. One's been to the college football playoff, one hasn't. But when you join the SEC, you're allowed to kind of overstep your boundaries if you feel confident in the coach. So many people are going to overreact to this deal. It is a 2-year extension when you break it all down. And the main reason why is because of 3 elements. Number one, what has Brent Venables done? Because everyone's going to look at the record and say, year one, they went 6-6. They were a 6-win roster. They underachieved. And then you got to remember, well, they underachieved after losing a ton of talent, including a starting quarterback that went on to win the Heisman Trophy, multiple wide receivers, an offensive line that was missing some key pieces, several defensive players, and they still went and played in a lot of one-possession games. Then the next year, with a similar roster, but a few more upgrades, they go 10 wins. Yeah, they didn't have the best version of the bowl game. Yes, Jackson Arnold didn't look as advertised, but it was a baseline. 10-win season. Giant upgrade from what you saw a year prior. And also, giant upgrade when it came to the transfer portal rankings, giant upgrade when it came to the recruiting rankings, and giant upgrade when it came to win-loss record. And so right now, what else are we seeing? Upgrade when it comes to recruiting rankings. Top 10 on every single metric. 24/7 Sports, On3, ESPN, Rivals. They all rank inside the top 10. Then you look at the transfer portal rankings. You brought in really quality players this offseason. Deion Burks at wide receiver. Dominic Williams at defensive line. You also brought in some very stable offensive linemen. Yes, you lose some pieces, but overall, you have a baseline. And now you just got to see the wins. 10 wins again versus 10 wins in the SEC. 2 different things. 7 wins in the SEC might be comparable to 10 wins in the Big 10. The Big 12, ACC. Certainly in the American Conference, certainly in the Sun Belt Conference. 7 wins get you there. And I think Oklahoma is better than advertised. I truly do believe that. Plus, you return a sturdy defense that's not going to be good in terms of Big 12. It's just last year with a backup quarterback. Overexceeded expectations because this wasn't a Jalen Daniels-led roster. And yes, Lance Leipold has turned the corner for one of the lackluster programs in all of college football. But still, everyone's allowed to have a bad game. Nick Saban struggled in year 1 when he was at Alabama. Everyone's allowed to have a couple of miscues as they're finding their footing as a head coach of the new program. Everyone. That includes Ryan Day. That includes Brian Kelly. That includes Brent Venables. Steve Sarkisian went 5-7 in year one at Texas. And yet now we see him in year two go 8-5. Nobody's giving him crap right now because of, you know what? Year three was the year it all came together. Number three, and this is probably the biggest one, what has he done in the SEC? What makes you so confident that he is going to be good in the SEC? Well, this is the part where sometimes people kind of get lost in this conversation. Yeah, you didn't do anything in the SEC yet, but what if Jackson Arnold is as advertised, like he was coming out of high school? And what if Deion Burks comes on in and is an all-SEC wide receiver, and you have Nick Anderson and Andrew Anthony, and you still have a good rushing attack, and the offensive line holds, and the defense is top 20 nationally, and you go 10-2. And year one, everyone who was talking about Texas, just like they were talking about Texas A&M when they joined with Missouri, watches as the Missouri 2.0, Oklahoma, ends up actually being the better than advertised roster. And they make it to Atlanta, or they're in the college football playoff hunt. Well, now the asking price has gone up from what was initially probably roughly about $8.1 million to $9.2 million, or even maybe $10 million. And at that point, then you have to have a real conversation. Is this worth getting the deal done? Is it? Maybe. But at that point, he also has proven that he can win in the SEC. And that's also going to put him on everyone's radar. Yeah, he's on anyone's radar right now, but it's also June. Nobody's on anyone's radar because the head coach isn't going anywhere at this moment. So you hold on to hope that Brent Venables is here for the long haul. And also, you know that because if you invested in him now, he might be a little bit more patient because if he loves this program. People got to realize that Brent Venables had been a head coach in waiting for multiple years at multiple programs. Could have gone back to Kansas State, didn't want to. Could have gone to Missouri, didn't want to. Could have gone to South Carolina, could have gone to other programs in the ACC. He had opportunity after opportunity to interview for jobs, but it wasn't the right fit. Oklahoma is the right fit. It was why he didn't turn down the chance to finally take over the program that made him a household name in college football. It's why he was willing to go back to Norman and finally take over and be a part of something special. It's finally why he was a major asset and a big reason why he wanted to be a part of this squad. Because if it's Oklahoma, it's Norman, it's Gaylord on a Saturday night, it's facing off against Texas and Red River and getting a win. It's those moments that you just can't replace anywhere else. There's a feel to it. So Brent Venables, maybe in 2 or 3 years, finds his footing. And because of the program was so loyal to him when he was doing things in the Big 12, he'll be loyal right back. He won't ask for a contract extension. He'll be content with it. And you know what? If he does ask for a contract extension, he's also kind of earned it. So there's no real loss here. This contract really only kicks in 2 or 3 years down the line. People are going to react to it now and say, well, he went 7-6 year one in the SEC. Okay, but what did Texas do? What if every program does? What happens 3 or 4 years down the line and Oklahoma is right back to being what the Oklahoma was in the Big 12, what Oklahoma was for years when they were dominating against other physical opponents, when they were competing for national championships? What if that's the version of Brent Venables you get? So you take the risk now to potentially reap the rewards. And even then, it's not that big of an overpay. It's a few more years for a damn good coach that's only growing with a program that has proven he cares about this school. And also, let's talk about this for a second. Oklahoma is more physically dominant right now than what they were under the previous regime. Maybe the offense isn't at the same level, but the defense certainly is a lot better. And what's one thing that you need to win in the SEC? Pretty solid defense. I give this deal an A+ for Oklahoma. I give this deal a solid A for Brent Venables. And no, don't look now, but we could be talking about this as a huge bargain for the Sooners as they continue to rattle off wins and live up to the expectations that are set in Gaylord on Saturdays because of who's leading the charge. That's just my 2 cents of the word. But let me know in the comment section down below, what are your overall thoughts on this deal for Brent Venables? What do you think for Oklahoma? Is this good, bad, indifferent for the long haul? Make sure that also you hit subscribe, hit the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode. Follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson, and to keep up with everything that we're doing. Plus, if you want to be a part of the Monday mailbag series or one-off videos, email me ColeThompsonWriting@gmail.com or slide in the DMs on Twitter. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. Later. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But before you leave, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you want to check out any of our other great work, make sure you click on one of the videos here. Am I pointing at the right spot? I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not.